let's say someone, and this is just a hypothetical scenario, was to give you like $50 million.
Okay.
And you know they're a criminal. Would you, and they get taken to jail? Would you go to jail for 5 years, knowing that you don't have to work for the rest of your life, and keep that 50 mil? Because I think I would.
Bro, jail is pretty bad.
But that goes back to what you're saying. But they're millionaires. Like, what kind of jail are they going to?
No, they're going to the same jail as the broke people.
That's a good question, though.
But also, so in this scenario, they're not snitching because they're taking the time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that are ready to like protect Gunna or Young Thug in jail?
I think that's true. I think
have like a little gang in there already.
No, I believe
for
that.
real.
Yeah.
You know what? That's such a good question, and I think I want to get on my Andrew Tate shit for a second because I feel like that's such a good question, and I totally get where you're coming from. With like, if you were in that scenario, would you take the 50 mil? But I think it's really important to just like remind people that no matter how much money you're offered, right, you should never compromise your integrity. And if you don't want to be in business with criminals, which I do not want to be in business with criminals, I'll talk about crime, I'll talk about rappers, I'll talk about drill, but I would never want to do business with somebody I knew was a criminal, somebody that I knew had the potential to go away to do life in prison or implicate me in some shit, right? So it might sound far-fetched, right? But if I knew somebody was dodgy in crime, that shit could go left and I could be implicated, I wouldn't take 50 mil, 100 mil, I wouldn't take anything, because I just feel like I got to be confident that I could make a lesser amount of money in the right way and keep my nose clean than compromise like my integrity and my freedom. So I feel like that's just so important, man.
I agree with that take because just on like, let's say I did go through with that, right? And I take the money. I feel like I just couldn't live with myself selling that person out. And I don't want to go to prison, so I just avoid the situation entirely. Because it's kind of like a can you live with yourself type of thing. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. 50 and 100 is the same thing.
I'm taking 5 years for somebody.
50 and 100 is the same thing.
200. A billion.
It's still the same thing at that point.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You can still buy the jet and shit.
But here's the point, right? Here's an interesting part, because I feel like if your mind state is like, look, I'm trying to get to 50 M's. Like obviously you're an aspirational dude. You know, you're clearly hustling, doing well for yourself. Like we all want to get to 50 mil, but even in that scenario, right? You say, okay, I would take 5 years in jail, and I do respect that. But then at the same time, like this is a hypothetical scenario. Now let's say you're in the real scenario. I got to go and do my bid. It's day one in jail, and when I get out, I'm gonna get my 50 mil, so it's all good. But this is my day one in jail. You get shanked in the neck and you die. Like that's the reality of the risk that you're taking. So it's like,
I agree.
You although I get where you're coming from, and I don't.
That is a small percentage because you already have a small percentage of going to jail. So then the shank is like you could go on the street of UK in London and get shanked.
Well, I mean, the concentration. Listen, the concentration of criminals in the UK or London is not, the concentration of criminals in prison is 100%.
Right. Well, I get that, but
also, how valuable is your time to you? Because I think that's priceless.
That's
Would you rewind? Let's say you're broke, right? You don't have anything you have right now, but you have all the knowledge that you've accumulated. Would you rewind 5 years? Would you want to be 5 years younger? Because I would take that any day.
Yeah,
Facts.
I would. But think about it. 50 mil, this number. 5 years. That's 10 mil a year that you just made. That's
5 years.
Good.
But put it this way, right? You're a hustler. You believe in yourself, right? Yeah. Maybe right now you've not got 50. You're not making 10 mil a year. Who knows? But like maybe now you're not making 10 mil a year. But let's say with 5 years of freedom, with your mindset and all the shit you know, and you know that you're a smart guy, you're a hustler. In 5 years, you could be making 10 mil a year. You could be ahead of yourself where you would have been in 5 years of jail with no personal growth. No additional knowledge. You're stuck in jail. You come out of jail, there's going to be a whole new generation of iPhones you're going to have to work out how to use. You might have 50 mil, but shit, inflation, 50 mil might not even be what it used to be. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know what? I feel like it's just...
I get your point.
You know what? I feel like sometimes, right, I don't know how you guys feel, but I've never been to jail. I really hope I don't go to jail. And there's certain days where I almost say to myself, like, yo, all I got to do to be successful is just not end up in jail in life. You know what I'm
Never
saying?
said that.
All I got, like, that's the bare minimum. As long as I don't fuck up and end up in jail, I got this.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I believe.
It's a great
and you
question.
also got to look at it
question.
in terms of relationships with family, stuff like that. Like, let's say you've got a wife, right? Do you think 5 years you're still gonna have that same wife?
Yeah, they're probably gonna use that.
You've got that stress. Your girl's back home. You've got the stress like, man, what is this chick doing? You know she's not staying for 5 years.
Bro, every rapper tells the story of like, you know your girl's fucking when you're in jail for 5 years. Like, you just gotta eat that.
Yeah,
I mean,
if
they're doing it to soldiers who are out there like fighting,
bro.
Yeah.
You're in prison.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's the thing. It's like 50 mil. Obviously, it's a lot of money. We all want to get to big money, but like, bruh, to think of the heartache you're gonna go through. I feel like even now making that decision, you would find yourself in year 2 of that bid, knowing that your girl's getting wrecked by like Debo on the outside, and you'd be like, nah, it wasn't worth it, man. I would give it back to have my girl back.
Well, that is one way to look at it.
Yeah, no, I'm saying. But you know what? I also think that like when you start hitting those sorts of numbers, it's like things that money can't buy become more important to you. And if you got 50, 100 mil, I think a lot of people. I reckon Jeff Bezos, he's got billions, but I reckon he still thinks to himself like, man, I wish I could have kept my first marriage together. And money can't fix that, you know. Bill Gates probably like, I shouldn't have gone to Epstein's island. You know, no money will fix that.
He's like, I shouldn't have started investing in vaccines. Whole video just got trashed off of this. We gotta censor that.
No, for entertainment purposes only.
Oh man.